Hi guys and welcome back. So it's that time again and I am releasing a new round of handmade watercolours in my web store. So we're going to take a look at some of the colours in today's video. I'm going to swatch them all out on camera. Here I'm making the swatch cards that you get with each pan that you order. And I'm also going to go over the colours, and then once it's all dried we'll take a look at them all once they've dried too. So this here is the first colour. This is Hansa Yellow made with PY3. It's my favourite yellow pigment ever, and last time it was available in a set. This time it's available in open stock in half pan form. If you would like to see more, please consider checking out my website where I sell my handmade paints and also some artwork and prints. I will leave a link to my website down in the description bar below. This is a website that I set up to showcase my artwork and sell a few things. You can also view my gallery on there too. Alternatively, you can also check me out on Patreon, where you can get a few extra bits, including monthly dot card rewards of my handmade watercolours and commercial brands. Again, I will leave the link down in the description bar below if you would like to consider checking that out. These swatch cards that come with every paint that's ordered contain all the information on the back, such as the pigment information and whether or not it's light fast, whether it granulates, whether it stains. All really useful information to have, especially if it's new pigment to you. So the next pigment that you can see here, this is Ultramarine Rose, and I actually gave this out in dot cards with last orders, so people who ordered with me last time may have got this in a dot card form. And this is made with PR259. It's an ultramarine pink. It's also what it's sometimes called. It's a granulating pinky purple colour. It's quite a nice colour, and usually from commercial brands it's quite hard to re-wet, but I think mine does an okay job at re-wetting and there's a nice colour payoff to it. It's not the most heavily tinting colour out there. I am releasing quite a lot of new colours this time round. I did do a large crema order at the very start of this year, so there's lots of new pigments here for me to play with and lots for you guys to try out too. I've also, of course, restocked some old favourites, so we're going to get to those when they crop up too. So this colour here is actually an earth colour. This is Green Umber, made with PBR8. It's an unusual earth colour. I don't have this pigment from a commercial brand, nor have I seen it in a commercial brand off the top of my head. It's a really nice greenish earth colour. I don't often make a lot of earth colours because I find they're a little bit generic, as in yellow ochres tend to all look pretty similar across all commercial brands, and I didn't just want to add on top of that. And as well, I don't think people who buy my colours really like the earth colours because they are so generic across many brands. However, this one is a bit more of a unique one. It has its own kind of flavour to it. It's a bit different to what I've tried before. This colour is Ultramarine Greenish, so it's Ultramarine Blue, but it's a green shade of Ultramarine Blue. So it's a bit more greener than my standard Ultramarine of Dan's Blue, or like the Ultramarine Blue Light that I made, which is named Penholder Blue. This one is quite a bright electric blue. It also has quite a nice granulation like the original, but it doesn't granulate it quite as heavily. This next colour is actually a convenience mix colour. This is Ultramarine Turquoise. So I've made this using an Ultramarine Blue PB29 and I've moulded it with a phthalo green PG7. This creates quite an interesting blue. It's definitely a cool blue, very dark and saturated, and yeah, it's just a really nice kind of deep dark turquoisey colour. It does have some granulation, but because it's mixed in with the PG7, it's not a super granulating colour, but it does have some texture to it. especially when you use quite a lot of water with it. You can really get the granulation effects with that. I'm not always a fan of convenience mixed paints coming in pans like this, but I thought I'd give it a go because I did notice that last time round when I did it Dusk, which was a convenience mixed violet, a lot of people quite liked it, so I thought I'd give it a go at making some of my own convenience mixes. I am painting all of these swatches on cold pressed watercolour paper, so if they do granulate, you will see the granulation in the paint. So this colour here is a much requested colour. This is Midnight Rose made with PV19. I made this probably back last year and only had it available in a botanical watercolour set, or was it a favourites watercolour set? I don't know, I'm losing track of all these different things I've made. But this one was definitely quite a well loved one. A lot of people requested it and asked me to make more of it. So I've answered your request and I have made some more. It's a really nice deep rich magenta colour. It's not as pink as magenta, it's more violet and much more moodier. That's why I kind of named it Midnight Violet. This should also be a light fast colour. It's a very smooth, semi-staining and non-granulating paint. This next colour is Chromium Green. This is a colour that I've not made for a very long while. It was one of the first colours I ever made when I started making handmade watercolours. It must be within the top 10 or so that I made. This colour is actually going to be available as a Patreon only colour, so only those signed up to my Patreon page will be able to purchase this colour. This colour was voted for by my Patreons, and each time I'm going to release colours, I'm going to do a voting poll, and get my words out, and there will be sort of 5 or 6 colours that they can choose from that will only be, the winning colour will only be available on Patreon. This time they chose Chromium Green, next time they could choose any other colour that I'm going to be releasing. This colour here is Cobalt Turquoise, made with PB28. I really like this colour. I don't use it a lot in my own painting because it does granulate so heavily, but it does make some really nice mixes. It makes some really nice vivid greens and violets due to how electric it is. It also does granulate quite heavily, and it's just, I really like this blue. I really do quite like the look of cobalt blues, but I don't really get a chance to use them very much in my own artwork. I'm not usually a fan of granulating colours in my own work because they don't really suit the style of painting that I do. But I do think I prefer cobalts, I think, to ultramarines. So this next colour here that I'm swatching out is a returning colour. This is Synchresia. So this is actually PO48. It's a colour that often goes into making quinacridone gold hues. Here I've got the single pigment version PO48. It's a really nice earthy colour. It's a bit like burnt sienna, but I actually think this is better than burnt sienna because it doesn't granulate horribly like burnt sienna does. And burnt sienna can be quite difficult to re-wet sometimes and kind of have this kind of chalky look to it. Whereas the Synchresia, this one with PO48, is definitely a lot better. It's more transparent and it just behaves much more better than a burnt sienna does, in my opinion. Now this colour here is Kyanite Genuine. I have added a little bit too much humectant to this paint though, so it might be a little bit soft. I do recommend sticking it in the freezer if you're going to purchase a pan before you unwrap it. But it's a really nice sort of natural grey colour, and it has quite a nice texture to it. So another earth colour now, and this is Golden Ochre. It's a golden yellow ochre. It's slightly more bright, vibrant and golden looking than most traditional yellow ochres. It's again why I've chosen to make it as opposed to just the traditional standard one. It's a really nice bright yellow ochre, and I just really quite like it. It's made with PY43, which is pretty traditional, nothing too weird with this one. So moving on to the next colour, and this is Malachite Genuine. This is actually the Arabian version of Malachite, so it's a little bit more green than the traditional bluer version of Malachite. And this here is actually the last of the pigment I've got of Arabian Malachite. It's still available from the pigment manufacturer, but I'm probably not going to be buying it again. I'm probably going to just buy the traditional Malachite, as I find this one is kind of a bit of a strange colour. It's quite earthy looking in colour. It does granulate quite nicely. You do have to work with this one a little bit more. Mineral pigments tend to require a little bit more wetting down and more work to get them to behave properly. There's a reason why manufacturers today have moved away from more mineral pigments, because they are more hard work to make, mull and use. Continuing with mineral pigments, I'm also choosing to make again verdigris. This one again is going to take a little bit of pre-soaking, and it's a bit more difficult to work with. It's made with copper, and it's a really nice colour. And it's a really nice electric blue, but it can be a bit more challenging. As well, when it comes to mineral pigments, they can also oxidise, so do be careful. This next colour is Zircon Red. It's a nice soft granulating red. It does contain cadmium, as it's an altered cadmium pigment. I'm not sure what they've done to alter it, but the pigment number is PR108. It's a really nice colour. I really recently released it previously as part of a Zircon set. Now it's available in open stock. The next colour, which was previously only released as a set, is now also available in open stock. This is Midnight Blue, most commonly known as Indanthrone Blue. It's made with PB60, and it's one of my most favourite blue colours ever. It's a really nice deep dark blue, excellent for mixing, and it's also very light fast, which is better than some other pigments out there like it, such as Prussian Blue, which isn't light fast. So this next colour is a restock, and I expect it's one that many of you probably recognise now just by look, and this is Manganese Blue Genuine. It's made with PB33 and is a super heavily granulating electric blue colour. Of course I had to remake some more as it sells out extremely quickly. This is probably the pigment that I'm most known for making in handmade watercolour paints, and I'm happy to bring more back to people. I do offer pre-orders with paints now. If you have missed that update, please make sure you check out the Patreon vlog that I did not that long ago, which I talk about the rules and conditions of pre-ordering. This next colour here is Magenta, another re-release, and I really like this colour. It's a nice strong magenta colour that's light fast and really strong. So here are all the swatches now dry. You can see what all of the colours look like now that they've dried down and gone through the colour shift. Some obviously have more of a colour shift than others. That's just the nature of the beast. Watercolours tend to have that effect. All of the paints will be available in different sizes and different forms. Mostly half pan, some are available in tubes, and some will have full pans and large milk caps depending on the colour. So make sure you do check out my website, which of course will be linked down below as always. And if you'd like to stay on top of these updates when I release paints, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and if you'd like, consider signing up to my Patreon. Patreons do get really good notice on when my paints are available. And they also get the first dibs on making pre-orders. You can gain access to these features from as little as $1 a month, and also Patreons will of course have the chance to try some dot cards ahead of time of the release. These colours should be available now as of this video going live, so do let me know down in the comments section if there are any colours here that you're liking the look of in particular. I'm really interested in what people think about handmade colours. So let me know down in the comment section, and please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. So that brings the video to an end now. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this. Please check out my other videos and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. So thank you guys so much, take care everybody, and bye bye.